Welcome back to another episode of the Ark Survival Guide. I'm really excited. This is finally the day we're testing out this Team Doedicurus rock gathering trick that I've been working on. So, first of all, there's nothing wrong with your screen. I am actually playing in split screen mode on my PS4. I've got two players going at the same time. So, I needed an assistant, so I created one. This is Eve. Everybody say hi to Eve. Um, so I just created a new survivor, gave her some clothes for decency's sake, because, that's important. And so she is actually going to just sit there on that Doedicurus as I'm maneuvering the raft around. Now, basically what I'm doing is I've just got the controller where I can bump the trigger with my foot, and every time I bump the trigger, she's just going to do that swipe move and try to smash any rocks in the way. So I'm mostly playing on the top screen and using that to maneuver this raft and drive over. Yep, that works. So the raft will clip right through any stones or boulders or anything like that, which means if the boulder is sticking up out of the water, it actually comes into the courtyard here. So I'm just going to keep maneuvering this thing carefully around the coast and trying to just bring boulders right into line with that Doedicurus. And as you can see, I'm just moving it slowly until it's within range, and then boom, 70 rock right there. No, not even taking a second. So Doedicurus is really slow, but as long as he's on the raft moves really fast, so it's moving him. He's not actually technically moving at all. Now, I do have to be really careful because if a rock ever, that's not breakable, if a rock ever comes and hits that Doedicurus, it's going to push him right off the raft. And that gets really difficult to deal with. I could end up pushing him right into the middle of the back of my raft, and he could get stuck on the forge, or I could just knock him off into the water, and he might get eaten by sharks. So I'm being really careful, as you can see, to maneuver around so I don't actually clip him into a solid rock. But any of these boulders sticking out, he can just smash them, and then they're not in the way anymore. So it's something I'm working on. It's going to take some practice to really get this down and be fast at it, but for now, as you can see, we're able to hit a lot of these boulders on the coast. A lot of them in Viking Bay especially stick out pretty far, and we can just drive right over them. So this is working beautifully. I mean, we've already got a couple hundred stone, and there's another one I can probably go over here. So the raft is a little bit above the water, but as long as the stone is sticking out a decent bit, there we go, yep, and we can smash it. So sometimes it takes a couple swipes. We're still building up this guy's melee damage. We had to tame him at a very low level because he was the only one we could find, first of all, but it was actually really good that we did because he took up most of our tranquilizers just to keep him unconscious, and I don't think we would have been able to tame a higher level if we found one. So I'm just going to keep going down the coast, smashing every one of these stones that I can find. It goes a lot faster. Man, we got like 250, 300 off that thing. That's crazy. So some of these boulders are just full of stone. I mean, huge amounts of stone off of these things. And, oh, that's a turtle. Okay, I heard some sloshing and was afraid we'd picked up a passenger. Every now and then you'll run over something wild and it'll just hop onto the raft. So, yeah, that's a little awkward sometimes. But these are massive boulders that we're collecting in split seconds. So, I mean, this is incredibly effective. I almost actually hit the Doedicurus with that one. Even a tiny rock like that, if the Doedicurus gets up on top of it, then it'll just sit on the rock itself and pass right through your raft. So we gotta be real careful of that. Let me see if I can maneuver this one around a little bit. I'm getting kind of close to the wall, though. I don't want to risk losing him. So, yeah, I'm just going to give up on that. Whoa, that was close. We almost knocked him off the raft. I'm kind of looking at both screens to make sure that, you know, we don't lose that Doedicurus. We'd probably be able to get him to safety, even if he did get attacked by a sea scorpion or something, but you just don't want to mess with that. You don't want to risk anything, so this looks like probably a good rock here. We could probably get some decent stone out of that. Oh, nice. Some of these stones are actually, a boulder sitting on top of another boulder, so we can just keep smashing for quite a bit. So once again, I always give my disclaimer. Anytime you're on a raft, if there is a whale, it's called like a lead sick fees or something like that. Anytime there's a whale in the neighborhood, he is going to head straight for your raft and smash it because whales are the biggest jerks of the sea. And we are staying really close to the coast, and we're actually staying in shallow water as much as possible right now. I've got some really good countermeasures. We're going to actually build some biological turrets to stop the whales later on, but it'll be a little while before we can do that. There's something called Plant Species X, and it actually basically is a plant that turns into a turret when you plant it, but you have to have large crop plots. It will only grow in large crop plots. So we can't really do anything about that for now, but once we have those turrets, they can slow down a whale to the point where it's not even moving, and so even if they attack you, they'll never actually reach the raft in time to hurt you. So we'll be working on that later. That's the first thing I want to do as soon as I can build those large crop plots is secure our raft, because the whales can just sink it in one swipe, or in 6 hits, but they can definitely destroy your raft, no questions. So I'm gonna see if I can get this boulder. Oh man, look at all that stone. We have just got a ton of it. I'm gonna level up his melee damage again. He's getting close to level 30. That guy is just flying through the levels. We got him at level 15, like, I don't know, an hour or two ago. I mean, he is just cruising up here. I gotta be careful here that I don't clip the side. Yeah, it's getting a little too close for comfort. It takes a lot of practice to maneuver a raft like this. Let's see if I can hit that. Yeah, okay, great. It takes a lot of practice to maneuver a raft because they have a really slow turn radius and it takes a little time to get used to actually maneuvering them. So I would recommend practicing before you actually put somebody on the raft like this. Now, if I actually had a second person, like if I was playing online and I had a tribe member or something like that, they would be able to move the Doedicurus a little bit back and forth. But the other thing about this technique is this guy is way too heavy to move right now. He capped out his weight, I don't know, a long time ago. But because he's not actually moving, we can make him so overweight, it's not even funny. So he's probably weighs about 10 times what he's supposed to, and he's not going to be able to move at all until we unload all those rocks off of him. But because he's safely inside this courtyard, he's completely safe. Nothing can hurt him unless I knock him off with a rock or something. So we don't actually have to move him at all. So the next phase of raft building that I do, I'm just going to use him as a giant storage box for unlimited stone until we're finished building this base. So this is going to work out really well, and we're not going to actually have to even unload his stones. We'll just leave them right on him, and he's going to stay put, and he doesn't actually have to move. So we're getting around this bay. This is just about the end of the bay here. And I remember that this area is a little bit shallow. I've been looking underwater quite a bit because of those sea scorpions that live nearby. But I've been keeping an eye out for whales. I've never seen a whale in this bay. I don't know, it may be too full of sea scorpions for them. I mean, maybe they don't like them. I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing. But so I'm trying to just stay away from any deep water where whales like to live. I've seen whales in such shallow water that their tail sticks out all the time. So they can definitely go into the shallows, but it's hard to gauge scale, but if it's maybe like 20 feet deep or less, they usually can't fit. Like they're about 2 stories tall. And so if the water is shallower than that, you really don't have whale problems. So yeah, I'm going to see if I can get this huge boulder. This is massive. It may just be part of the landscape. Some rocks cannot be smashed. Man, that was a big one. A lot of rocks are impossible to smash because they're just part of the landscape, but even some of these big boulders here can actually be destroyed. So this one might not be destroyable. Oh, nope, we got it. Great. We got some really good boulders up on this side, man. Oh, that actually pushed my guy a little bit, so if we kept moving, we might have knocked him into the raft. By the way, if you ever end up with a dinosaur stuck in your raft, it can definitely happen. It's happened to me a lot, actually. The dinos can slowly get pushed inside the walls, and you can end up with a dino inside your house. And it's impossible to move it unless you demolish all your walls. Or you can find a nice rock sticking out into the water and just drive right through the rock, and it'll push the dino out the back. So we have to use that to our advantage a lot. And sometimes even just logging in and out your dinos will kind of glitch a little bit, either backwards into your walls, or I've had them go into the floor where they're stuck and can't move. So little things like that can happen, but as long as you can use rocks to push them back out, you really don't have a problem with it. So let's see how our haul is looking. We just went around the bay, and I mean, I'm no good at mental math, but I'm thinking that's over 3,000 stone, and that's in less than 10 minutes. So 300 stone a minute is pretty dang good, I'd say. So we have a huge haul of rocks, and that's probably going to be enough stone to build the rest of my base. I'm gonna still build the backside of my base. It's gonna be a nice, house that I can live in with all the space that I need. And we'll also build a garden on top of the roof. So we're gonna have a lot of good stuff with this base, and we now have enough stone to do that. So it took no time at all to get enough to build a huge fortress. So you can see how effective this is and why we've been doing all this work on the front end. So yeah, tune in next time and we will build the back of the base and actually finish this floating fortress we've been working on for so long. And after that, we're going to have some real fun. So tune in next time. We'll see you then.